Hello and welcome back. I'm Joseph Hoffman. Today we're learning a traditional song that comes from Canada. It's called I Hear the Mill Wheel. What is a mill wheel? A mill is a place where you grind wheat into flour. So a mill wheel is a large wheel attached on the outside of the mill that is partially submerged in a river or stream. The water from the river pushes and turns the wheel. The spinning wheel makes an axle spin, making gears turn and giving power to the grinding machine inside the mill. So let's listen to I Hear the Mill Wheel once. I hear the mill wheel tick-a-tick-a-tock-a. I hear the mill wheel turning. I hear the mill wheel tick-a-tick-a-tock-a. I hear the mill wheel turning. Tick-tick-a-tock-a, tick-tick-tock, tick-a-tock-a, tick-a-tock-a. I hear the mill wheel tick-a-tick-a-tock-a. I hear the mill wheel turning. Now let's come to the heartbeat mat and check out the rhythm of I Hear the Mill Wheel. Here I have the beginning of the rhythm started for us. We haven't seen this rhythm for a while. It's a T-ticky. I hear the 1/8 note plus 2 16th notes. And these 2 16th notes go twice as fast as the 8th note. Ba, ba, ba. I hear the mill wheel. Now it's your job to figure out these two beats. Listen once and tell me what rhythm words you would put here and here. Ba, 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 ba. Listen one more time. Ba, 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 ba. What would you put here? If you said 4 16th notes or ticky-ticky, you're correct. What about here? If you said 2 8th notes or T-T, you're correct. The whole thing sounds like this. T-ticky-T-T, ticky-ticky-T-T. Can you point and say it with me? Ready? Go. T-ticky-T-T, ticky-ticky-T-T. Now let's see if you can figure out the rhythm of this row. Ba, 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 ba. What would you put here and here? If you said T-ticky-T-T, you're correct. Now see if you can figure out the rest. Ba, 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 ba. If you said ta, ta, you are correct. Now let's try to say the whole thing together with rhythm words. Remember, this rhythm is T-ticky. Ready? Point with me and say it. Go. T-ticky-T-T, ticky-ticky-T-T, T-ticky-T-T, ta, ta. Great job. Now, let's come and take a look at the sheet music. Here's the sheet music for I Hear the Mill Wheel. Tell me what you notice about this first line. You may have noticed our key signature here. This B flat tells us if we have any Bs, we'll make sure to flat them. And our time signature is 2/4, meaning we'll have 2 beats in every measure. Now, you probably recognize these rhythms because we just saw them on the heartbeat mat. Let's speak them together as we point. T-ticky-T-T, ticky-ticky-T-T, T-ticky-T-T, ta, ta. Did you notice how sometimes the rhythms went down into the bass clef? That means our hands are going to be taking turns playing the melody of this song. On T-ticky-T-T, the right hand plays, but then ticky-ticky, the left hand plays, then back up to the right hand. T-T. Now, let's see how these notes are moving. Can you tell me the step, skip, and repeat pattern? Say start for this first note and then go on by yourself. Go. Stop there. The correct answer is start, step down, step up, skip down, repeat. Now, can you tell me the letter names that far? Ready, go. If you said F, E, F, D, D, you're correct. Now let's practice moving our fingers for that pattern. What finger plays first? If you said 3, you're correct. Now, so we'll start with finger 3. We'll go 3, step down, step up, skip down, repeat. Let's try that again. Go. Start, step down, step up, skip down, repeat. Now let's try it with the correct rhythm. We have T, ticky, T, T. Now your turn. Ready, go. This time with words. I hear the mill wheel. Your turn. Good. Now let's look at the next part. For ticka, ticka, our left hand is playing, so we're in bass clef. Can you tell me what letter this note is? If you said A, you're correct. Now, since we're in the D minor pentascale, the left hand, finger 1 is on A. So at that point, the left hand has to go ticka, ticka. Then we go back to D in the right hand. So there is also finger 1 for the right hand. So going back to here, the left hand goes ticka, ticka, taka, and then the right hand takes those last 2 notes. Let's practice that together. Starting here, ready, go. Ticka, ticka, taka. Good. Now, what do you notice about these next 5 notes? You probably notice that they're the same as these 5. So once again, we have I hear the mill wheel. And then once again, the left hand plays A, then the right hand plays D. So we'll have turning. So let's start right here and practice together. I'll take a turn first. I hear the mill wheel turning. Your turn. Good. Now, let's come and try it on the piano. All right, let's place hands in the D minor pentascale. I'll play once, and you try and copy. So the right hand goes, I hear the mill wheel. Now your turn. Good. Now the left hand goes, ticka, ticka. Your turn. And then the right hand goes, taka. Good. Now let's put it together. Ticka, ticka, taka. Your turn. Good. Now let's put all of that together so far. I hear the mill wheel, ticka, ticka, taka. Your turn. Good. And the next part goes, I hear the mill wheel turning. Your turn. Great job. Now let's come back to the sheet music to check out line 2. Now let's look at line 2. What can you tell me about the notes of line 2? Does it look the same as line 1? It sure does. It's important to check every single note and make sure not a single note is different. And if you look through carefully, you'll notice every single note is exactly the same. So we're in good shape. We already know line 2. What about line 3? That's right, line 3 is different, and we'll learn that in our next lesson. But when we get down to line 4, you'll see line 4 is the same as line 1 and 2. So the form of this song we would call A, B, A. That's the form of I Hear the Mill Wheel. Great job working on the first section of I Hear the Mill Wheel. Remember, you can download the sheet music from our website as part of the complete materials for this unit. Practice it every day until you feel really confident with it, and then you'll be ready to learn the next section of Mill Wheel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Time to cook a little breakfast. I cook the pancakes, flippa, flippa, floppa. Time for breakfast.